I haven't slept properly in 3 weeks. Every time I close my eyes, I see that dirt road that doesn't exist on any map, and I hear the sound of gravel crunching under tires that aren't mine. My friend Zephyr won't even talk to me about what happened. He moved to Portland right after, said he needed a fresh start, but I know the real reason. Look, I'm not someone who believes in ghost stories or any of that paranormal crap. I'm a pretty normal guy, work in IT, live in Phoenix, love basketball on weekends. But what happened to me and Zephyr last month changed everything. It started because Zephyr had just gotten dumped. His girlfriend Brittany broke up with him right before their planned weekend trip to Flagstaff. She said he was emotionally unavailable and needed to work on himself. Whatever that means. He was pretty torn up about it, kept texting me at work saying he needed to get away from the city for a while. You know how it is when your friend is going through a breakup. You gotta be there for them. So I'm scrolling through rental sites during my lunch break, looking for something cheap we could book last minute. Most places around Arizona were either booked solid or way too expensive. I was about to give up when I found this listing on some site I'd never heard of before. The photos looked decent, just a basic log cabin with a small kitchen and 2 bedrooms. The description was pretty simple too. Secluded off-grid cabin, cheap for quick getaways. The weird part was the price, like ridiculously cheap. I'm talking $60 total for the whole weekend, in Arizona, during peak season. My first thought was it had to be a scam, but the host had decent reviews going back a few months. Nothing too detailed, just stuff like quiet place and exactly as advertised. The host's name was just listed as RK. No profile picture or anything. I called Zephyr and told him about it. He was still moping around his apartment, probably eating cereal for the 3rd meal in a row. "Dude, just book it," he said. "I don't care if it's a shack. I just need to get out of here." So I booked it. Got a confirmation email with GPS coordinates instead of a regular address. That should have been red flag number 1, but honestly, I've stayed at off-grid places before. Sometimes they're in areas where street addresses don't really make sense. Friday evening, we loaded up my Honda with sleeping bags, some groceries, and way too much beer. Zephyr was actually starting to seem a little better, making jokes about becoming a mountain man. I remember thinking it was good to see him smile again. The drive was about 3 hours north of Phoenix, up into some mountains I'd never explored before. The GPS worked fine until we got to this tiny town called Clearwater. After that, we were just following the coordinates on my phone. The roads got smaller and smaller until we were on this narrow dirt track that definitely wasn't on any map. "You sure we're going the right way?" Zephyr asked, looking out at nothing but pine trees and rocks. "GPS says so," I told him. But honestly, I was starting to wonder too. We hadn't seen another car or even a road sign for like 30 minutes. Finally, after what felt like forever, we came to this dead end where the road just stopped. And there it was, the cabin. It looked exactly like the photos, which was actually kind of surprising. Small log cabin, covered porch, even had the red door from the listing pictures. But something about it felt wrong, like it had been sitting there waiting for us. We parked and grabbed our stuff. The first thing I noticed was how quiet it was. Like, dead quiet. No birds, no wind, no insects buzzing around. Even our footsteps on the gravel sounded too loud, like we were disturbing something that was supposed to stay peaceful. The key was supposed to be under a rock by the front steps, and sure enough, there it was. Inside, the place was bigger than it looked from outside. Living room with a stone fireplace, small kitchen, 2 bedrooms in the back. Everything was clean and seemed pretty normal, except for some things that made me pause. There was a box of pantry staples on the kitchen counter. Crackers, canned soup, granola bars, that kind of stuff. Fresh stuff, like someone had just been shopping. The expiration dates were all months away. In the corner of the living room was this old rusted bicycle that definitely wasn't in any of the listing photos. The chain was completely rusted through, but the tires still had air in them. and scattered on the coffee table were these old paper road maps, the kind nobody uses anymore since GPS became a thing. One of them had a route circled in red marker, going from Tucson to somewhere in Nevada. "This place is kind of weird," Zephyr said, opening the fridge. It was empty except for a half-full carton of milk that still had a week left before expiring, and a single apple that looked like it had been there for days. "Yeah, but for $60, who cares?" I said. "At least it's clean and the Wi-Fi password is written on that board over there." We spent the evening drinking beer and playing cards. Zephyr was in better spirits, telling me about how he was thinking of switching jobs, maybe moving to Seattle. Normal breakup stuff, wanting to reinvent himself, start over somewhere new. I started to think the weirdness I'd noticed earlier was just me being paranoid because of all the true crime podcasts I'd been listening to lately. But then I couldn't sleep. The bed was comfortable enough, but something kept bugging me. Maybe it was how quiet everything was, or maybe it was just being in a new place. Around 2 a.m, I got up to get some water and decided to look around a little more. Zephyr was snoring in the other room, probably the best sleep he'd gotten since Brittany left him. That's when I found the chest. It was tucked back in a corner of the living room, behind that old bicycle. Just a regular wooden trunk, nothing fancy. The kind of thing you might use to store blankets or old Christmas decorations. But when I opened it, man, that's when things got really fucked up. Inside were dozens of receipts. Bus tickets mostly. Greyhound, Trailways, some smaller companies I'd never heard of. All recent, some from just a few weeks ago. They were from all over the country. Los Angeles to Albuquerque, Dallas to Denver, Chicago to Salt Lake City, Miami to Atlanta. Random routes that didn't seem connected to anything, but someone had been collecting them carefully. Underneath the receipts was this sealed plastic pouch, the kind you might use for important documents. Inside were maybe 30 or 40 small laminated cards, about the size of business cards. Each one had just 3 things written on it in black marker: a date, a time, and a license plate number. They were all from different states: California, Texas, Oregon, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico. My hands were shaking a little as I looked through them. The dates went back about 6 months, and they were all different. But they were organized by month, like someone was keeping careful records of something important. That's when I noticed something that made my stomach drop. Under the bed in my room, I could see the corner of something black and plastic. I got down on my hands and knees and pulled it out. It was an external hard drive, old and cracked, with a loose USB cable wrapped around it. There was a piece of masking tape on it with Road Cam written in the same black marker as the cards. I should have left it alone. I should have packed up Zephyr and gotten the hell out of there right then. But I didn't. I plugged it into my laptop and waited for it to load. The hard drive was full of video files, dash cam footage from the looks of it, hours and hours of it, all showing the same thing: the dirt road we'd driven in on, filmed from somewhere up in the trees. The timestamp showed files going back months. I clicked on a random file from 2 months ago. Grainy footage showed a blue sedan pulling up right where we'd parked. A woman got out, looked around nervously, then walked toward the cabin carrying a small suitcase. The video jumped ahead an hour, and there she was again, walking back to her car. But she wasn't carrying the suitcase anymore. Her hands were empty. I checked another file. Different car, different person, same exact thing. Someone would arrive with luggage or bags, go to the cabin, then leave an hour later without whatever they'd brought. The most recent file was time-stamped from 3 days before our trip. A man in his 30s got out of a white pickup truck, grabbed a black duffel bag from the bed, and headed toward the cabin. The timestamp jumped to dawn the next morning, showing him walking back to his truck alone. No duffel bag. He looked over his shoulder twice before driving away. I felt sick. What the hell had we walked into? I woke up Zephyr and showed him everything. The receipts, the cards, the videos. His face went completely pale when he saw the footage. "We need to leave," he said, already pulling on his shoes. "Like right fucking now." I agreed. We threw our stuff in the car and got out of there as fast as we could. The whole drive back, neither of us said much. We were both thinking the same thing. What if we'd been recorded too? What if someone was watching us right now? When I got home, I tried looking up some of the license plate numbers from those cards. It took some digging through news websites and police reports, but I found what I was afraid I'd find. Several of them matched vehicles reported stolen on the exact dates written on the cards. Burglaries, thefts from hotel rooms, missing persons cases. I also tried finding the rental listing again, but it was gone. The whole website seemed to have disappeared overnight. But when I dug deeper using cached versions, I found something that made everything worse. The host account had been created right around the time of the earliest dashcam footage. Someone had been using that cabin as a base of operations for months. We blocked the site, deleted our booking confirmations, cleared our browser histories, and tried to forget about it. I even thought about calling the police, but what would I say? That we found some weird stuff in a cabin? That we thought someone was running some kind of criminal operation out there? Without proof, it would just sound crazy. But then, 3 days after we got back, I got an email. It was from the same account that had sent our booking confirmation. No subject line. Just one sentence that made my hands shake. Thanks for staying. Hope you enjoyed the road. I've changed my email address since then. Deleted all my social media accounts. Zephyr moved to Portland last week. Said he needed a fresh start after everything with Brittany, but I think the cabin thing spooked him way more than he wanted to admit. I still think about those videos sometimes. About all those people who stopped at that cabin and left something behind. About whoever was watching from the cameras, keeping those careful records, collecting those bus tickets like trophies. And sometimes, late at night when I can't sleep, I wonder if someone's still out there on that dirt road that doesn't exist on any map, waiting for the next person to find that listing for a cabin that's way too cheap to be real.